In this lesson, we're going to evaluate the best practices to creating a resume with little or no work experience. Now, if you're just starting out in your career, it can be hard to write a resume that shows your potential and what you're capable of, right? But in this lesson, you'll discover how to highlight your skills and abilities without relying on a long work history. We're going to dive deep into a 5-part framework. Then we'll evaluate the structure of creating your resume with examples. So normally, if you're writing a resume with little or no work experience, it's because you're just entering the workforce for the very first time. Maybe you're a recent grad, or maybe you're starting your very first job search. Either way, remember that you can still showcase your skills, talents, and abilities even if you don't have a lot of work experience. Now, before we jump into how to write a resume with little or no work experience, remember that it's going to require you to think outside of the box. I want you to be creative. Think about how you can demonstrate your abilities and potential through alternative forms of experience, such as personal projects, volunteer work, or even online courses. Now, we'll jump into this in just a minute, but I want you to consider a hybrid resume format where you emphasize your skills and experience over chronology, which can be very helpful if you have limited work history. The next thing I want you to keep in mind is to brainstorm. Think about things you've done in your past that demonstrates your work ethic and commitment. This can be something like babysitting. It could even be dog walking, scouts, or even fundraising. This can also be contract work, freelance work, or volunteer work, as I mentioned earlier. So let's look at the 5-part framework that will propel your resume to success. You're going to want to focus on your education. So if you're a recent graduate or have limited work experience, be sure to highlight your education. This is really where you can highlight any relevant coursework, academic achievements, or extracurricular activities. This will definitely help demonstrate your skills and interests. Next, emphasize transferable skills. So transferable skills are abilities and competencies that are useful in a variety of different careers and job roles. An example would be communication skills, problem-solving skills, time management skills. It could even be leadership skills, teamwork skills, or even organizational skills. This is really where you want to start thinking about skills and experiences you've gained outside of the traditional work setting, such as volunteering, internships, or student organizations. Next, highlight your achievements. When possible, you want to use quantifiable information to show what you've accomplished in your experiences. This is where you're really going to focus on results. So when discussing your experiences, focus on what you accomplished rather than what your day-to-day responsibilities were. Next, consider other experience. This is where you'll include things like volunteer work or internships. These experiences can help demonstrate your skills, your work ethic, and your commitment to the field. And then finally, keep it concise. Limit your resume to just 1 page and avoid including unnecessary information or details that don't directly relate to the job you're applying for. So let's examine the resume structure if you have little or no work experience. You want to lead with a captivating headline, which we'll look at an example in just a second. You want to wow with a well-written summary. Remember that your summary is a great place to showcase who you are and what makes you an ideal candidate. It's one of the first sections an employer will see after they look at your name and contact information. Next, focus on relevant or transferable skills. This is a great way to highlight your strengths as they pertain to the position you're applying for. And keep in mind, you can use a combination of hard skills and soft skills. Next, impress with your education. So if you are a student or recent graduate with less than 5 years of work experience, this section is the flagship of your resume and should appear at the top right below your summary. And to really make an impact in this section, you can add things like academic honors, relevant coursework, or any clubs or societies that you participated in. Next, include other experience. So employers absolutely love to see volunteer experience on a resume. In fact, it's been reported that 41% of them consider volunteer work as valuable as paid work. And then finally, don't forget technical skills. Now let's look at the structure of a resume for someone with little or no work experience. You're going to start with a captivating headline. So the headline tells the hiring official what position you're applying for and what they should expect to see in the rest of your resume. It makes their job so much easier by eliminating the guesswork. Now you're going to include a title with 3 key skills. You're then going to include a well-written summary. Now, I have a lesson dedicated specifically to crafting a well-written summary, so you'll want to take a look at that for a refresher. But for now, think of your summary as a snapshot of who you are and what you have to offer. Remember, you're not listing what you're looking for in your ideal position, but rather how you can help the company and their needs. So, of course, you're always going to avoid saying things like, looking to grow in my industry, or wanting to take the next step in my career. Your main goal is to demonstrate that you are the person they need for the position. Next, include your relevant transferable skills, which fall in the core competencies section. These are some of your greatest abilities as they relate to the position and can be a combination of hard and soft skills, as I mentioned earlier. These are short keywords or phrases separated by a straight line. Now, this is an optional section. However, it's a great way to ensure that your resume is ATS friendly. Now, if you have sections you'd like to add to your resume, like professional memberships or selected achievements, then you would want to eliminate the core competencies section because you won't have enough room to list everything while still sticking to one page. Next is an impressive education section. So when it comes to your education section, you'll start by listing the name of the school, followed by the location of the school, and then your degree and major, or vice versa. You could even list the degree and major first and then the university name and location. Now, because you won't have a lot of work experience to pull from, you'll really want to focus on making this section impressive, like adding relevant coursework or academic honors or societies or even clubs you participated in. In this example, we've listed the course name followed by some of the course projects that we worked on while in that course. The next thing is other supplemental sections. So when it comes to other supplemental sections, the sky is the limit. In this example, we've added volunteer experience and certifications. Now again, volunteer experience is a great way to demonstrate to an employer your willingness to take initiative and get things done. But then you could also list certifications to show that you are staying up to date and relevant in your field. Now I have a lesson dedicated to other supplemental sections you can add to your resume, so watch that when you get a second. And then finally, technical skills, which is one of my favorites, no matter your situation. I like to place this at the very end, almost like a cherry on top. Think of this as an extension of your core competencies. This can also be a combination of hard and soft skills and can include things like computer programming language, mathematics, and even graphic design. You could include things like mastery of Microsoft Office programs, or you could include soft skills that represent your personality and behavior, like decision making, creativity, and communication. The sky is the limit when it comes to your technical skills. So my action step for you is to use the 5-part framework to properly structure your resume if you have little or no work experience.